before it was colonized by the other particular countries?
Philippines is consists of 7,107 islands. These islands has a unique culture, traditions, having different sets of native literature.
The Philippines has a lot of literary works before it was colonized. And yes, I'm so proud to know that our ancestors has already had creativity even before we were colonized. Let us tell you the story.
The primary peoples of the Philippine archipelago were Negrito, Indonesians, and Malays. The social and political organization of the population in the widely scattered islands evolved into a generally common patterns. The majority of the political system in the early Philippines was led by leaders called datos, responsible for ruling anonymous groups called barangay or duluhan. Pre-colonial literature in the Philippines, by one means or another, give us an illustration from the past. It underscores on how our literature began in the country, which is the Philippines. The common themes used during this era was nature, the supernatural creatures, bravery of heroes, costumes, and
In
ideology.
terms of their literature, the pre-colonial literary pieces transferred in traditional narratives, speeches, and songs include Tigmo in Cebuano, Bugtong in Tagalog, Patutotdon in Bicol, and Paktakon in Ilonggo.
Ang baybayin or the spell was the pre-colonial writing system in the Philippines. Some modern scripts in the Philippines descended from baybayin. It is said that since the pre-colonial period, or the time before the conquerors came, our ancestors had their own literature that was very rich. The early literary forms of the Philippines were epics, legends, riddles, and proverbs, which were told and retold by natives.
Most of what we know of a pre-colonial literature deals with oral traditions, and these are
Riddles or butong. Riddles are not only for fun, they also carry important lessons that we carry throughout our lives, since many of the riddles are also passed down our ancestors. This is important part of our culture and history. If you are a Filipino who grew up here in the Philippines, it's fun to listen and to answer riddles, especially when there were no gadgets, cell phones, or computer. I still remember back then when we were talking with my family, teammates, or friends. We would insert the riddle lungan. In Bisaya or Cebuano, it is tigmo-tigmo. This is what gives us comfort, enjoyment, and excitement. It also sharpens our minds when we are answering.
Kung may tiyaga, may nilaga. This is an example of proverbs or salawikain. These are a sayings that contains a metaphor used to teach us good for thought. Proverbs give us wisdom. It provides guidance and meaningful words to give a meaningful meaning. This is also the description of the culture and beliefs of the Filipinos. Ang may isinuksok, may madudukot. The meaning of the saying has to do with being thrifty or prudent because when you have something to save or set aside like money in times of emergency and you need it, you can get it and use it. It is very important to be prudent and thrifty because in times of need, you have something to use. So we must be wise in our spending. Let's prioritize our basic needs before our personal wants.
Myth and legends. Myths are stories that are passed down about how or why something came to be. Legends are designs to teach lessons about a real person's history. With a few facts dramatically change mythology. These stories and epics originate from and part of the indigenous Philippines folk religions, which include various faiths distinct from one another. This is is important because it has influenced our art, faith, livelihood, and land. In art, it has become the foundations of the people of the present day and the story of the writers of mythology. Maybe doing the same. In faith, people used to believe in many gods and goddesses as a result of other religions. In livelihood, it became part of the life and worship of the people back then. People gain confidence in life and become their guide. All cultures have myth stories, legends, and folklore. They show what groups of people think about the world and how it is perceived. All arts and traditions are a very to preserve and transmit customs, values, well as to shape behavior.
Alamat ng saging, alamat ng pinya are some legends example. It is a traditional story sometimes popularly regarded as historical but uneducated. This is also one of the things that we Filipinos can be proud of because reading legends sometimes affects us because we think what would we do if we were in the position of the character. That we will realize the lessons and the things we should do to correct our mistakes.
Biag from Ilocos and Hudhud ni Aliguyon from Ifugao are some famous epics in the Philippines. It contains a positive lessons that can be used as a guide in our lives. Although epics do not directly reflect the events of today, we can still study the thoughts and good manners of the characters in the story because the epics, the way of life of Filipinos before and their values were more easily propagated. The way of introducing their culture is also more interesting. Epics are also narratives that contain a lesson that the reader can use in his own adventure in life. Tales are characteristically anonymous, timeless, and placeless tales circulated orally among people. Folk tales are important in shaping the consciousness of Filipino youth. The folk song are one of the oldest forms of Philippine literature, whereas it is inspired by the reaction of the people to the environment. Uyayi or lullaby, kumintang or war song, kundiman, harana, and many more are examples of folk songs. Folk songs are songs that reflect the daily life of the natives and people of the Philippines. These songs tell stories about the natives, especially of the provinces, of their simple lifestyle, and how they do different tasks.
We Filipinos do truly have beautiful and awesome literatures that we can some way or another be pleased with.
Philippines indeed, without a doubt, a nation that is rich in costume and tradition through having a diverse characteristics.
It was evident that each of the tribes we have had their own specific manner of living, which in some way or another make them stand out from others. We can see that the spirit of the literature of the day has surely been planted in our culture.
There are literatures that we considered unrealistic, but what is important is that it makes us happy and we will learn from them a lesson in our lives.
The